You are 42, and your construction company generates $25 million in annual revenue. You are standing in the parking lot of your office at 6:47 in the morning, coffee in hand, watching 17 trucks pull out in sequence, each one wrapped in your company's colors, each one carrying a crew to a job site somewhere in the city. You know every driver by name. You know which crew runs ahead of schedule and which foreman needs a call by noon or the afternoon goes sideways. The first truck you ever owned cost $2,400 and had 190,000 miles on it and a driver's side window that wouldn't close all the way in winter. You drove it for 3 years. You sold it for $800 when you bought the second one. You are holding the same travel mug you've used since the beginning. Scratched metal, rubber grip worn smooth on the right side, a dent on the bottom from the time you dropped it on a job site in year 2. You have never replaced it. Your office manager offered to buy you a new one twice. You said, "This one works." By the end of this video, you'll definitely see that the path from a single truck to a $25 million company isn't about construction. It's about the specific decisions you make when the business is too small to survive a mistake and too young to know which mistake is coming. You'll find out why most trades businesses stay small forever, and the answer will make you uncomfortable if you recognize yourself in it. This is your life building the empire. Level 1. $0 and the van. You are 27, you have $1,400 in your account, and you just quit your job. Not impulsively. You worked for a general contractor for 4 years, learned every trade interface, managed subcontractors on 3 mid-size residential projects, watched your boss lose $40,000 on a contract he priced wrong because he didn't know his true cost per hour, and decided you could do it better. Not arrogantly, just factually, the way you decide something is true after 4 years of watching it up close. The van cost $2,400 from a private seller, a 2006 panel van with a sliding door that sticks in cold weather, and a check engine light you had a mechanic diagnose as a non-critical oxygen sensor you'd monitor rather than replace immediately. You put your tools in the back and your name on the side with magnetic letters from a hardware store, $34, removable in case this didn't work. The first job comes from a neighbor, bathroom renovation, $3,200, materials plus labor, a scope you could do alone in 8 days. You price it correctly, you finish in 7. The neighbor pays on the day of completion and tells 2 people. The second job comes from one of those 2 people. The third comes from the other. You are working 12-hour days and billing between $2,800 and $4,100 a month, depending on the project pipeline, which is entirely word of mouth, which means it is entirely dependent on who happened to mention your name to whom in the previous 30 days. This is not a business model. It is a reputation with a van. You keep every receipt in a manila envelope in the glove compartment. At the end of each week, you transfer the numbers to a yellow legal pad, materials, labor hours, fuel, and a column you label margin that you check every Sunday morning with the same coffee from the same gas station on the same corner. The margin is real. Small, but real. You tap the pen against the legal pad, twice, slow, then stop, when the pipeline goes quiet in February and you have 11 days without a confirmed job. You don't panic. You call 8 previous clients in 2 days. 3 have work. 1 project starts the following Monday. The first rule, at $0, the business is you. Every decision you make about pricing, about quality, about whether you show up on time when it's cold and the van door sticks, that is the company. There is no other company. Level 2. First employee. You are 29 and you hire Marcus. Marcus is 24, 2 years in the trades, reliable in the specific way that shows up in how a person handles the end of the day when the work is done and nobody is watching. He cleans up without being asked. He loads the van correctly the first time. He asks the right questions before starting rather than the wrong questions after finishing. You pay him $22 an hour. The market rate is $19. You pay $22 because you cannot afford to train someone twice and because Marcus, paid correctly, is worth $31 an hour in output on a well-run job. The math of having an employee changes everything. You can now take 2 jobs simultaneously. Your monthly billing goes from an average of $3,400 to an average of $7,100 in the first quarter with Marcus. The overhead, his wage, the additional insurance, the second set of tools, costs $3,200 a month. Net improvement, approximately $500 a month, plus the compounding effect of being able to say yes to projects you would have previously declined due to capacity. You also have debt. The equipment loan from year 1, $8,400 for a tile saw, a wet saw, and a compressor you needed to take on the kind of work that paid properly, is at $5,900 remaining. The van needs a transmission service that you've been deferring for 2 months at a cost of $1,100 you don't currently have in the business account. This is the level where the debt question becomes structural rather than personal. And it is exactly the trap I already broke down completely in the video appearing right now. How debt compounds at the small business level, why deferring maintenance is always more expensive than paying for it, and the specific psychological pattern that keeps trades businesses undercapitalized for years longer than necessary. But for now, let's focus on what happens when the second truck arrives, and the business stops being a person and starts being a system. You pay off the equipment loan in month 7 of year 2. You do the transmission service the same week. You write both numbers in the legal pad under a column you label closed. The column gives you more satisfaction than it probably should. The second rule, the first employee changes the business from a trade to a company. The difference is that a trade earns money. A company builds something that earns money without requiring you to be physically present for every dollar. Level 3, the first real contract. You are 31 and you win a commercial contract for the first time. A property management company needs 3 apartment units renovated simultaneously. Kitchens, bathrooms, flooring throughout, timeline of 6 weeks, budget of $84,000. You have never managed a project at this scale. You price it correctly because you spent 2 evenings with the legal pad and a calculator and a genuine willingness to walk away if the number didn't work. You present the proposal in a conference room. You are wearing the cleanest version of what you own. The property manager is 38, professional, has seen 40 proposals in the last year. He asks 3 questions: timeline, warranty on labor, and whether you carry commercial liability. You answer all 3 without hesitation because you research the answers before walking in. He awards you the contract on a Thursday afternoon. You hire 2 more crew members that week. You rent a second van on a monthly basis rather than buying. The capital is better deployed in the project than in a depreciating asset you'll need for 6 weeks. You project manage all 3 units yourself, 7 days a week for the first 3 weeks, then 6 days when the crews find their rhythm. You finish in 5 weeks and 4 days, under budget by $3,200, which you return to the client without being asked. The property manager looks at the check for a moment before accepting it. He asks if you're interested in an ongoing maintenance contract, 12 units across 3 buildings, monthly retainer, $4,800 a month. You say yes, before you finish hearing the offer. You write the retainer number on the legal pad that night. You circle it. Below it you write recurring. Below that you write, this is what changes it. You are right. The third rule, the first recurring contract, changes the business from a series of transactions into something with a future. Transactions end. Contracts compound. Level 4, the company. You are 35 and you have 11 employees, 3 owned vehicles, 2 ongoing commercial contracts, and a reputation in the city that generates inbound inquiries without advertising. Revenue for the year, $2.1 million. Net margin after all expenses, wages, equipment, insurance, and your own salary, 14.2%. You have a bookkeeper, a part-time estimator, and a project manager named Elena who runs the residential division with less oversight than you gave her in the first month and better results than you produced yourself. You moved out of the van 3 years ago. The office is small, 2 rooms above a tile supplier who gives you a trade discount in exchange for the referrals your crews generate. The legal pad is still on your desk. 14th volume, same pharmacy, same $1.19. The travel mug is on the corner of the desk with a pen in it. A larger contractor approaches you about a subcontracting relationship. They need a reliable interior finishing crew for a $4.2 million mixed-use development starting in spring. The work is real, the timeline is 8 months, the payment terms are net 60, which means you complete work and wait 60 days for payment. Net 60 on a project this size requires $180,000 in working capital to bridge the gap between your payroll and their payment schedule. You do not have $180,000 in free working capital. You tap the pen against the legal pad, twice, slow, then stop, and then you call your accountant. Your accountant refers you to a business line of credit. The bank approves $220,000 at 7.4%. You take $180,000 and leave $40,000 untouched as a buffer. You take the subcontract. You deliver on schedule. You pay off the line of credit in month 11. The relationship with the larger contractor produces 2 more subcontracts in the following year. Your phone shows 94 unread messages. You have a rule: Sunday mornings are off limits. You enforce it most weeks. Your partner has stopped mentioning the ones you don't. The 4th rule: at $2 million, the business is real enough to borrow against and fragile enough that the wrong contract on the wrong terms can still end it. The line between growth and overextension is a cash flow spreadsheet, and the discipline to read it honestly every week. Level 5. $25 million. You are 42 and the company generates $25 million in annual revenue. 63 employees. A dedicated estimating team. A operations director, a financial controller, a business development manager. 4 divisions: residential renovation, commercial interiors, property maintenance, and a small design build unit you launched 18 months ago that already generates $3.1 million annually. You no longer carry tools. This happened gradually and then completely. The last time you worked with your hands on a job site was 14 months ago, a Saturday, a favor for a long-term client whose crew had a scheduling conflict. You spent 4 hours installing tile in a bathroom you could have sent a crew to handle. You didn't send the crew. You went yourself. You didn't tell anyone at the office. A private equity firm approached you in March. They want a minority stake, 30%, valuation implied at $18 million for the business, cash to you of $5.4 million for the stake. You spent 6 weeks with your accountant and a mergers attorney reviewing the terms. The terms are fair. The structure gives you capital to expand into 2 new markets without debt. The loss of 30% control is real, and you have thought about it every morning since the offer arrived. You haven't decided yet. You are standing in the parking lot at 6:47 in the morning, watching the trucks pull out. The travel mug is in your hand, scratched metal, rubber grip worn smooth, dent on the bottom from year 2. Your office manager offered to replace it again last week. You said, "This one works." The 17th truck clears the gate. The lot is empty. The city is beginning its Tuesday. You take out the legal pad. Current volume, same brand, same pharmacy, same $1.19. You open to a fresh page. You write 2 columns. Left column, take the deal. Right column, don't take the deal. You write 3 items under each. You look at the page for a while. Then you write 1 line across the bottom of the page below both columns. The question is not what the company is worth. The question is what you want the next 10 years to look like. You close the legal pad. You finish the coffee. You go inside. Your first employee, Marcus, is now your residential division foreman. He has been with you for 13 years. He earns $94,000 a year and drives a company truck and manages a crew of 9. He was 24 when you hired him for $22 an hour because you couldn't afford to train someone twice. You pass his office on the way to yours. The light is already on. He is already at his desk. You don't stop. You don't need to. The light being on at 6:52 in the morning says everything it needs to say. Somewhere right now, someone is loading tools into the back of a van they bought for $2,400. They have magnetic letters on the side. The check engine light is on. Their first job starts in 40 minutes, and their second job is a phone call they haven't made yet. They think the hard part is the first job. It isn't. The hard part is the moment 2 years from now when the work is good and the reputation is building and the business is real enough to feel like something, and they have to decide whether to stay the person doing the work or become the person running the company that does the work. Those are not the same person. You cannot be both for very long. The van is how you start. The decision is how you build.